Have you ever found yourself praying for a financial breakthrough only to hear heaven and God silent? Well, you're not alone. But here's the truth most people want to tell you. Prayers for wealth without action are like planting seeds and never watering them. Faith without works is dead. Today, I'm here to challenge how you've been thinking about money and faith. Because God just doesn't want you to pray for provision. He wants you to step into your role as a steward of His resources. If you've been waiting for God to move, maybe He's been waiting for you to move. Stop praying for wealth and do this instead. What is it? Let's start in 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Let's get this money. Those dollar bills getting this on out of. Let's get this money. One year better know I'm on it.
What's cracking, everybody? Money Smart Guy, Matt Sapaula here, hailing to you from Dallas, Texas. And this episode was inspired from a couple of gospel artists. They're in my workshop a couple nights ago to kick off the year. And the conversation was about making sure that we plan ourselves to be financially free and financially independent. I asked a question: how much money would you like to have on a monthly basis in order for you to be financially comfortably, financially safe, financially secure? And some people said $10,000 a month, some people said $20,000 a month, some people said $5,000 a month. Well, boldly, they both said $1.2 million a month. I said, is that a year? She goes, no, I mean that in a month. Okay, cool. I said, if I might ask, listen, you probably got it, and probably you got it at a different level than everybody else in here. What are you currently doing right now to make sure you got $1.2 million of income on a monthly basis? Is it you saving your royalties? Is it you saving your from your tours, et cetera, et cetera? She goes, I ain't got nothing. This is all on faith. This is all on God. What? It's all on God. It's all on faith. Man, you're winging it. So this episode is inspired by this couple because I see also a lot of people winging their financial goals into the new year. They're praying for provision. They're praying for a new year. They're praying for a new start to the life. But they're taking into the new year the same old habits of 2024, the same old habits of last year. So if you want new money, you got to establish new habits. So number one, the illusion of easy money. It's so easy to get wrapped up in scratch this and hopefully you win a lottery type of ticket. It's so easy for people to get wrapped up in a lottery. It's so easy for people to get wrapped up in Bitcoin, right? You put money inside Bitcoin, it's going to be right. By the way, what a phenomenal year that Bitcoin has had. And listen, I'm not a person that's going to tell you, don't put your money inside Bitcoin. Don't put your money inside Bitcoin. Put a lot of money in your market. Listen, whatever you're willing to risk, put it inside whatever investment. And by the way, I'm sharing this as advice from a friend. I'm not a financial advisor, but as advice from a friend. Put in those type of investments what you're willing to lose. It is not a safe money strategy. So why do people get wrapped up in get rich and get wealthy quick type schemes? Get rich quick schemes often appeal to the desire for easy money. They exploits psychological vulnerabilities like the hope for a quick solution to financial problems, and often use persuasive tactics that can cloud critical thinking, especially when presented with a seemingly legitimate opportunity during times of economic hardship. Hey, I've been there. I've been in many, many times before I got married to my now wife, Sheena, for the last going on 13 years together, 10 years being married. There was a phase in my life where I was a single father of 3 kids. I just got involved in insurance business. And I was thinking about start and stop and not thinking that insurance was my vehicle to get me to the promised land. And thank God, by the way, thank God I stuck with the insurance business because I saw a lot of my friends, a lot of colleagues jump into mortgages, jump into real estate in the mid-2000s, right before the Great Recession, right before banks stopped lending money, just before homes went from $300,000 in value to $150,000 in value, and people still owed $250,000 on a mortgage. They were what they called underwater. So I saw very many times people get involved in risk, whether it be real estate, whether it be stocks, whether it be courses, things that they buy, they think that scratch and sniff, this thing will solve my problems right away because I'm lacking financial help, right? Been there. I believe there's 3 key reasons why people get fooled. Number 1, it appeals to greed. The promise of quick and sufficient wealth with minimal effort can be very tempting, especially for individuals struggling financially. You know, we do our annual convention for our company once a year in Las Vegas. We rent out the entire MGM Grand. It is ours for 4 days. It's a $6-7 million budget. And it's right there in Las Vegas. So here we are, a financial services organization doing our annual convention in Las Vegas. Kind of like an ironic place to do it. And once upon a time, when I was a senior in high school, I grew up in Chicago in a suburb called the Cicero, Berwyn, Stickney area. This is where Al Capone got kicked out of a horse racetrack, because of gambling. He says, let me stick it to the man. So he builds another racetrack across the street, right across the street from the horse track he was kicked out from. Sportsman's Park and Hawthorne Park there in Cicero. It's no longer there, but I found myself cutting class to go gamble on horses. I was maybe 17 years old. I bet $2 here, $2 there, $2 there. It was the allure of quick money, gambling. And I realized that gambling for me, might be different for you. Gambling to me was tapping into an area of human nature that I didn't like, which is that I can get something for nothing, that I don't have to earn it. And that's why I kept gambling. And every time we're in Las Vegas, the allure of casinos, the allure of card games, the allure of slots, the allure of just betting is to get something for nothing. You get all this money, but you do no work if you are willing to risk this. And these days, I don't like gambling. Matter of fact, the only time I gamble is if I know and can control the odds. Well, it's not called gambling then, is it? But if I know and can control the odds, I'm making that bet all day long. I'm betting on me. I was interviewing Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, a few years ago at our event. I asked Coach Prime, what's been your greatest financial investment in your entire career? He says, you know what? Here's my greatest investment. If I have a chance to ever go down to the casino, I bet on 21 black. 21 black. What does that mean? In other words, by the way, 21, if you don't know Coach Prime, 21 was his number in football. Black, obviously him. He's betting on himself, 21 black. Are you betting on yourself? Or are you betting on, hopefully somebody else will take you to the financial promised land? Who are you betting on? And the second reason why I feel that people get fooled by get-rich-quick schemes is because they lack financial literacy. Not everyone understands basic financial principles, making them susceptible to misleading claims about easy money-making strategies. And once you're literate, once you start speaking the language of money, by hanging around people that speak the language of money, by reading books that improve your capacity to understand the language of money. I remember for the very first time getting involved in financial services, I said, I need to get my money game up. I need to get my financial literacy game up. Let me read the Wall Street Journal. Completely different type of magazine or newspaper compared to the Chicago Sun-Times or the Chicago Tribune. Trying to understand Fortune magazine, the Wall Street Journal, Barron's, these financial type of publications, it was a new language to me. It was a new category for me. And knew right then and there, that's why I realized I'm not making money because I am being ruled by the money game and I'm losing this money game because I don't know the rules. I don't know who the players are. I don't know the policies that affect my money. I'm losing money because I don't know the rules of the money game until I started reading it, started diving into it. It's probably one of the greatest things I've ever done in my entire career is take the faith step of getting recruited into the financial services industry because it caused me to get an insurance license, caused me to get a securities license, caused me to get a financial education because if I wanted to serve people in the capacity of financial services and then later on build a business out of it, I had to be up on my game in terms of financial education. Third reason why people get fooled when it comes to easy allure of money. It is psychological factors. Hope bias. People tend to believe positive outcomes are more likely than negative ones, leading them to overlook red flags in get-rich-quick schemes. The second part of psychological factors is social proof, especially hyper-sensationalized by social media. When others seem to be benefiting from a scheme, individuals may be more likely to join, believing it must be legitimate. I mean, look at what happened to Sam Bankman-Fried, whose company, his Bitcoin company, FTX, was a $35 billion fraud. And how many people were promoting it? Tom Brady, Mr. Wonderful, all these celebrities were promoting this company because they were paid as influencers. And people thought, well, if these guys are doing, or these guys are part of it, Mark Wahlberg with Crypto.com, if people are part of it, I must be in the right category of putting my money there if these faces, these celebrities' endorsements are taking a check to promote it. And so just because a celebrity, I'll just tell you this, just because somebody is a celebrity doesn't mean they're wealthy. They might be rich, but they may not be wealthy. The question for you is, what do you want to be? You want to be rich or you want to be wealthy? Rich is a temporary state of mind, in my opinion. Wealth is an attitude. It's a mindset. It's a spiritual compass to where you're taking the stewardship responsibility God has bestowed upon you to trust you with the least, so therefore he can trust you with the most. And easy money tactics are not the way to go in terms of being a good steward and wise investor with your finances. Here's some common characteristics of get-rich-quick schemes. By the way, you go on Netflix, they got all sorts of series on get-rich-quick schemes and why people still to this day fall for it. But here's some common characteristics of what to avoid. Here's some red flags of what to avoid. Number one, unrealistic promises, guaranteeing large returns with little effort. Number two, secret formulas, claiming to have exclusive knowledge not available to the public. And number three, pressure to act quickly, encouraging immediate investment now to avoid missing out on a limited opportunity. Bottom line, they exploit people's desires for financial freedom. This exploits so many things about the human nature that you and I know is ugly. But everybody wants to be financially secure sooner than later. I'm telling you this right now. I've never met somebody that with the get-rich-quick schemes that long-term became successful. If your mindset is not positioned for the long term in terms of building a reputation, building a systematic flow of how money comes in, how money comes out, being a wise steward of that accountability, of that process, then you're trapping yourself into get rich quick type of schemes. The Bible says that wealth gained quickly is quickly lost, while wealth gained gradually grows. Let's take a look here at Proverbs, what it says. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 11 says, money that comes easily disappears quickly, but money that is gathered little by little will grow. Proverbs chapter 28, verse 22, greedy people try to get rich quick, but don't realize they're headed for poverty. All right, real quick, at this moment, a lot of people have been asking me, hey, Matt, I got questions for you, how to get a hold of you. Listen, if you're not connected with me on Connect, that is a guaranteed way for you to get an answer from me. So download this app, Connect, look for my profile, Matt Sapaula, ask me a question, text message, response from me, video message, response from me. You can even book me for a 15-minute video call. Download this app, Connect. It's a guaranteed way for me to get back to you in terms of what you're talking about in terms of finances, entrepreneurship, sales teams, building a company. Connect with me, I'm Connect. My second thought here on this, in terms of stop praying and start doing this instead, is how are you assessing your current level of financial literacy? So let me unpack what financial literacy is. It's the understanding basic financial concepts like budgeting, saving, and investing. The power of compound interest, always thinking long-term, and the life-changing power of mentorship. Here's what it says about financial literacy in Luke. It says this, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. And a large part of financial literacy is finding ways to avoid impulsive spending and debt accumulation. Listen, ask yourself right now, on your phone, look at your phone, okay? Look at your phone. How many apps on your phone can you spend money on? How many apps on your phone take money from your bank account? Think about that. Amazon, right? Netflix, right? eBay, you name it. Put down apps. How many apps on your phone take your money? Second question, assessment, inventory. How many apps on your phone bring you money? Do you have a brokerage account, bank account, a website with an app, that Shopify account, dropship company? What apps on your phone bring you money? So add it up. How many apps on your phone take money from you? How many apps on your phone bring you money? Not take from you, but bring to you. Do that assessment right now on your own. By the way, in the comment section, put it. How many apps on your phone? Is it 5 versus 2? Or is it 2 versus 5? I don't know. Please, if you'd like to participate, put whatever you found and assessed with your situation, with your cell phone in the comment section below. Pretty fun assessment there, huh? Here's a few things on how to set a solid financial foundation. Number 1, setting financial goals and creating a realistic budget. Number 2, developing healthy habits and prioritizing financial security. And number 3, exploring different investment options and ways to control your income. Sometimes people ask me, Matt, what about diversification? Listen, I'll take some advice from Warren Buffett and I'll pass it on to you. He said, diversification is saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I get it. Then Warren Buffett fires back and said, listen, you can put all your eggs in one basket just as long as you control and hold the basket. Why? Because I'm looking back at my now going on 26 years in business. I went all in on my greatest investment. What is that? Myself in growing my sales skills, increasing my capacity as an entrepreneur, fighting for associations, relationships that I was not raised with, establishing a new network that I had not connected with because I don't have a fancy last name. I didn't go to a fancy college. I don't have a fraternity or an organization that feeds me business. I'm just this average and ordinary kid that was born and raised in Chicago, went to a public high school, served the military for 8 years, and I got some big goals and dreams, but I don't have a platform to express my deepest desires to be somebody, to do something special for my family, do something that people can be proud of, that I could be proud of. I didn't have that platform. I didn't know what to do until somebody fed me, and maybe I'm doing this for you. Somebody fed me the fact that I could do something greater with my life, that God has given me a dream. That specific dream meant for me, not for my mom, not for my dad, not to my sister, not to my cousins, not to my best friends, not to my Marines. God gave me a dream specific to me. It's not for them to understand. It's for me to understand because God gave it to me. And God gives them a dream too. God gave you a dream. It's not for me to understand. It's not for me to articulate what God gave you a dream for. It's for you to find out what that God-given dream and purpose is all about through expressing that through your career and business, through expressing that on a platform that can allow you to express that God-given talent and greatness that's inside of you. And people love it. How do I know I love it? Look at sports. People love watching sports. People love watching their favorite basketball and passionate about it. The word fan comes from the word fanatic. That they're fanatical for Ohio State. They're fanatical for Oregon. They're fanatical for the San Francisco Giants. They're fanatical for Chicago Bears. They're fanatical for Dallas Cowboys. They're fanatical more about their team than they are about themselves, than they are about their financial foundation, than they are about their financial security for their family. I mean, how many people said, man, I'm gonna get my finances together after the holidays? Hey, I'm guilty. I'm guilty of that. Many, many years ago, I had that bad habit. Yeah, I'll just brush it off. Next, tomorrow, until I started adopting a today mentality or a now mentality. So the greatest investment that I've made my entire career, going down my 26th year, is investing in myself to learn how to replace my current income with a part-time business on the side. So therefore, instead of depending on somebody to pay me $2,000, $3,000 a month, like I was in the military, I can create that bread by myself as an entrepreneur. That's why I like hiring people at my company as independent contractors. So therefore, if they want to branch off to something else, they don't have any guilt for doing so. Because I want people to be not only independent, dependent upon one thing, and that is their financial foundation. I pray and hope that is based on biblical principles that have stood the test of time. So the greatest investment I made is being able to control my income. It's not diversifying myself into a portfolio. It's not diversifying my portfolio into ETFs and stocks, bonds, blah, 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 blah. No, it's finding a way for me to control my income, for me to provide security for my wife, my children, my parents right now who are older, they need help, not just financial, but health-wise. I'm confident as a son that I can provide for the people I love and care about, including my parents, now in their golden years, in this chapter of their life, this golden chapter of their life. So therefore, they can live their best life without reducing the current lifestyle and not being affected by inflation, but not being affected by retirement savings that they had or didn't have. I'm the retirement savings, and I can provide it. You know why? Because I made a generational decision to say, hey, I'm going to create generational work. But guess what? It's built by generational work. I was willing to do that. Are you willing to do that? If you want generational wealth, are you willing to put in generational work? You're willing to work harder and longer than anybody has ever had in your entire family. And everybody thinks you're crazy because you want generational wealth. Well, they ain't working for it. Again, God gave you that dream to create generational wealth. Everybody talks about it. Everybody wants it, but they're unwilling to put in the work for an extended period of time until this thing starts popping off. Are you willing to do that? I hope so. Unless you come from a rich family, it's a whole lot easier. Listen, if you don't come from a rich family ought to come from you. Speaking of foundation, here's a scripture here in Matthew on the difference between wise builders and foolish builders. It goes like this. Matthew chapter 7, verses 24 to 27. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the wind blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against the house, and it fell with a great crash. The financial reality for a lot of people today is they build their financial homes upside down. I wrote in my book, Faith Made Millionaire, of how people are putting their homes and how they put their financial situations upside down, and what you ought to prioritize from the bottom to the middle to the roof. So please consider not building your financial house upside down. Third thought here I had in terms of stop praying and start doing this instead is the role of hard work and discipline. What is it? Let's break it down. Building wealth takes time, takes effort, and takes consistency. The importance of a strong work ethic and commitment to financial growth, and the power of perseverance and overcoming obstacles. If you want to know what I'm talking about, there's this chart I like for us to reference. We had a dream to call. We had a mastermind call. We did this once a week with my mentor, Patrick B. David, who is the CEO, founder of PHP Agency. And once a week, we get together on what they call dream team calls. And on this call, Patrick was coaching and mentoring us. And one of the people that we're coaching and mentoring, her name is Jasmine Swazo. Jasmine L. Swazo, what's up? Shout out to you. She asked Patrick, because Patrick, you always say that the Sapaulas are different than everybody else in the company. What's the difference between them and the rest of us? What can we do to model what they're doing right, so therefore we can compete with them too as well? Well, Patrick put it on a yellow pad, but this is what the yellow pad looks like with a graphic designer professionally designing what he put on that yellow pad. Let's take a look at this. So this chart is called What's Your Gap, okay? And Patrick talked about things happening in three-year sequences. For example, we started doing this in 2020 during the pandemic, but here he put 21, 22, 23, even though it's 2025 now, but still applicable. It's just a universal principle here. So most people want financial success. They want the money, right? They want the financial success. They want the bag, whatever you want to call it. But here's a problem with your gap, okay? Number one, when I look at this graph, Patrick talked about, first of all, where do you start? Are you a 1%er? Are you a 10%er? Are you a 20%er? Are you a 80%er? And usually 80%ers start off at a level of 1, okay? But 1%ers start off at a level of 8. So a question for you, before you even figure out what your gap is, where are you starting? In other words, if you want to compete and get the bag, the question for you is, where are you starting? Are you taking the time, Plot out what you're looking to accomplish in the year ahead. What time are you willing to commit? What skill set do you need to improve so therefore you can start competing up here? And what level of capacity of pressure are you willing to endure? So question for you is, before you even what's your gap, where are you starting off? Are you starting off number 2, 1 and 2? Are you starting off at 6, 7, and 8? Where do you start? Now, boom, let's go. Now, once people are starting, I'm growing. Man, my business is doing well. Even if I'm at 80%er, right? Success. All right. I had a great quarter. I had a great month. Boom, relaxation time. I'm just going on vacation, long weekend. Call me after the holidays. I'm going to go. I was just talking to an entrepreneur today. He's struggling to keep his business, but he's leaving for the Philippines for 4 weeks. I don't get it. Back to this, what's your gap? Okay. Versus the 6, 7, and 8s, their skill set might be different, right? Their networks might be different. Their capacity might be different. Their skills might be different. Their commitment might be different, but boom, they all start taking off. So the thing here too as well, what this is showing, are you a start-stop type of person? You get some good rhythm, and you stop. You have a good sale, you got good success, and then you stop. You over-celebrate. Are you distracted often? By the way, everybody's got challenges. Everybody's got personal challenges, health challenges, financial and health challenges. Everybody's got their obligations, but are you being destroyed by your own personal lack of discipline and accountability? What's your gap? And the third thing you've noticed on this graph, at one point, all of them are competing. At one point, all of them are competing at the highest level, or the difference between a 20%er, between a 10%er, between a 1%er, the difference between a 20%er, a 10%er, a 1%er is very indistinct. You can't barely tell who's who until what? After they had some initial success, after they had a good quarter, after they had a good year, after they had a good weekend, what starts happening to the 20%ers? What starts happening to the 10%ers? They relax, they chill, they stop. They stop with the intensity. But what about the 1%ers? They got challenged, but they're steady Eddie. Of course, nothing's going to be perfect straight line, right? Compared to everybody else, bam, they're the least volatile. How quickly do you fall after a big victory? How quickly do you fall after a big loss? 1%ers experience losses too. 1%ers expect failure too. 1%ers expect setbacks too as well. But they don't get set back. They don't drop off their intensity just because things don't go their way. So this is the difference between the 80%ers and the 1%ers right here. It's what's your gap? What's the difference between you? If I had the play button starting here in January 2025, boom, and I have a fly in the wall record you for the year, what happens? Do you get too high on your highs and do you get too low on your lows? Are you kind of steady Eddie, right? You learn how to process issues quickly. You learn how to avoid distractions quickly. You learn to get over setbacks right away. You don't get bitter, you get better. What's your gap? Proverbs chapter 21, verse 5 says this: the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance. So in other words, you have to have a plan and you have to be diligent. You got to know what you're going for and you're clear about it. You plan. For example, every year my wife and I go through this exercise. We take some time between she and I say, babe, what do you want? In 5 categories of faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. These 5 categories. What do you want to improve our faith, to improve our finances, to improve our family, to improve our fitness, and to have more fun in the year ahead? What are these 5 things? Why? Because those are the things that get us both excited. And I promise you, 10 years, it's not always been easy because I want this. And sometimes guys in business planning, my wife and I fight because we are lacking in different priorities to one another's desire for what a priority is. And it was so funny. My wife and I said, babe, we did this for the 10th year. And I said, babe, we finally was able to business plan without fighting, without getting mad and upset each other. I said, yeah, babe, listen, practice makes perfect. Took us 10 years to do it. But finally we found a business plan that we're very, very, very excited about. We're getting printed out. We're going to be hanging up here in our offices in our house. But we're excited about our business plan. Have you put together a business plan? What are you excited about? If you don't know what the business plan is in these categories: faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. Start with those categories. And once you fill out these categories of what you're excited about or the plans that you have for ahead to look forward to, then you can really start take on, what am I working hard for? What am I going to be disciplined for? So consider that. Okay, my last point is embracing a money mindset shift. Okay, money mindset shift. What am I talking about? Shifting from scarcity mindset to a abundance and prosperity mindset. It's just the way you think. Because if you can change the way you think things, it can change the way you see things. If it can change the way you see things, it changes the way you do things. And change the way you do things, it changes the results that you get. For example, somebody said, Matt, my business plan, my financial plan for 2025, for the next year ahead, I need to cut my Netflix. I need to cut all subscription services. I need to cut Starbucks. Minimalist mentality. In my opinion, that's a scarcity, fear mindset when it comes to money, that you're limited on resources. For me, I believe in abundance, prosperity mindset. Listen, I want to live life too as well. I want to go to Starbucks. I want to watch Netflix once in a while because there's documentaries that inspire me. I want to take my wife out to this restaurant. I want to eat in all the time and take my lunch to work all the time. I want to go out and eat. I want to live life. You know what I found out? The difference between one mindset versus the other, it takes the same amount of energy. The same amount of energy to cut coupons and go cut subscription service. By the way, I'm not saying that you shouldn't go through your finances and find out where the waste is. But if it's cutting coupons, scrimping and scratching, being a minimalist versus being a maximalist, is that even a word? Looking for the maximum opportunity, the maximum gain in your financial life versus the minimum, because you're always going to look at things from a cost perspective. Entrepreneurs, the way I am leading my life from a faith-made perspective, and I'm looking to my God having all the answers to my money problems. I just got to improve my skill set in order to receive those blessings. The other part of this, in a hard work industry and the role it takes, is focusing on value creation and contributing to society. You see, when I was broke and it was about me, no one wanted to help me. When I shifted to how I can help others and serve others, many others then wanted to help me in return. And what I realized when I was complaining in that me moment, like, how come nobody's helping me? I ought to be helped, man. I serve this country. I'm a Christian. People need to help me. I do this, I do that. I'm a single dad. By the way, it's bad. Victim mentality, entitlement mentality, horrible mentality, versus reversing that and saying, listen, how can I be of value to other people? So instead of it being about me, how can I find a problem that everybody is experiencing and creating a product or service as a solution to that problem, and people then buy from me? Hello. And that's why for me, I've been in the insurance business for 26 years. I've been in financial services now for 26, going on my 26th year now. Because guess what everybody has a problem with? Finances, final expenses, how to deal with problems after suffering a heart attack, stroke, and cancer, and still paying the bills after I survived it. And by the way, so many people younger today are having a stroke. By the way, watch this video here of Dustin Frampton. I wrote him in my book, Gotcha, how he suffered a stroke at 38 years old. And thank God he had an insurance policy that paid him while he's alive, that paid him a cash tax-free benefit while he's alive. So in other words, life insurance doesn't only pay you only when you're in the ground, but also if you survive a heart attack, stroke, and cancer. Please watch this video here on Dustin and Kenya Frampton, how they dealt with that situation by being in a position of setting a solid financial foundation. Romans chapter 12, verse 2 says, to be renewed. Let's read this. Do not be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. You know, our word for the year, every year we have a word. Our word for this year is new, the new. Like we want to see the new version of our business, see the new version of ourselves, a new version of our children, a new version of everybody we're affecting here in our community. We want new. We're looking for new leaders, new mindset, new standards, new intensity, new speed, new. We're looking for the new. And it doesn't have to be till the end of December. We'll still be saying, hey, this is still the year of the new. And here's what I stumbled across as a scripture to edify. Even God wants you constantly to be. Here's what it says in Ezekiel. It reads like this. Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 26. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit in you. I will remove from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. So, if you want to create generational wealth, are you talking like how the generations before you talked about money? See, if you ever become wealthy and you want to become wealthy, you have to understand you speak and think a different language than rich people right now. And here's the truth. Most millionaires didn't have a trust fund. Most millionaires didn't have anybody giving them a financial head start. 17% did. 83% of all millionaires are self-made. Majority of people have made it. Nobody before them gave them money. Nobody before them had given them a financial head start. They started from scratch, from poverty. They found that when you're in the worst position, you're actually in the best position. Why? Because you work off from this position of just being pissed off. And when anybody tells you that you can't do something, and people tell you you're not good enough, people can't tell you you're not smart enough, just go get a job. Stop chasing your dreams. Just join everybody else who's got a normal 9 to 5 Tuesday, just saving your 401k and hopefully for the rest of your life and happiness and prosperity. We call that the 40-40 plan. Work for 40 years of life to save, so therefore you live another 40 years on the 401k plan. Well, guess what? Here's a problem with America with that plan. Most people in America are dying broke. America ain't good savers. You know why? Because they're not making enough money, and simultaneously they spend whatever they bring in. So America has a savings problem. Forget a debt problem. We have a savings problem. We have a retirement savings plan. The average retirement plan, the average 401k plan for a retiree today is less than $200,000. How fast will that go? People's 401ks will evaporate within 3 to 5 years of them retiring. Why do you see more older people working? Why do you see more older people at Walmart, at Costco, at the grocery store? We just had a lunch meeting at Shake Shack, and the person that was serving us our food, she was an older woman. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, why isn't she with her grandkids? Why isn't she with her family? Do you know why? She's not there on a volunteer basis. She's there because she needs to cover the gap between her pension, Social Security, and her bills. If it was just about volunteer work, well, I'm not sure she'd be volunteering at Shake Shack. She'd be volunteering at the church. She'd be volunteering at some organization, not at Shake Shack, not for a paycheck. Allow me to introduce to you a different mindset shift from the great legendary running back, Marshawn Lynch. If you know Marshawn Lynch, he hates doing media interviews. If you know Marshawn Lynch, he was the running back that always ate Skittles on the sideline. Beast mode is what we call him, man. Marshawn Lynch. It's a bad boy. But he was showing a different perspective to money to his fellow players in the locker room. Here's why. Majority of NFL players in the locker room, they don't make a lot of money. Top players of that roster, they're the ones making millions. But majority of that roster, sure, they may make $500,000, $750,000. Man, that's a lot of money. I know. But half that money goes away in taxes. Portion of the money goes to the agent before it even comes to them because they're paid not as entrepreneurs. They're paid as employees. So in other words, the biggest thing that comes off their check is taxes. So they're making $500,000, $750,000, $1 million. And just because everybody thinks that you're in the NFL, that you're automatically rich. Not a lot of these guys are rich. They want to look rich for sure. So Marshawn Lynch was challenging a player in the locker room who potentially could be one of the players that's cut. But he's spending money like he makes his type of money. So here's some of the advice that Marshawn Lynch gave to this player about how to handle your finance. A mindset shift of a scarcity versus a prosperity mindset shift. Let's take a look at this.
Time where I brought in a financial advisor and I brought in a jeweler. Had them in the same room. Tell player, hey, got the financial advisor in there, got the jeweler in there. And it was actually a jeweler I think Bang had put me on with. And all the young guys come in there, was in there doing their thing, making moves, this, that, and the third. And I tell them, like, all right, yo, that's cool. Yeah, right on. Hey, how much you said you about to spend? I'm about to spend X, Y, Z. All right, well, cool. Go and put the same amount that you're going to put in on this jewelry. Go over there to that financial advisor and go drop the same bag. Oh, gee, you tripping. Like, nah, I ain't tripping. But what's going to happen is if you going to spend with this, then you're going to go put some money over there with the financial advisor. Nah, hell no. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. So I tell the jeweler, hey, dog, if them don't show you that they put some money in with the financial advisor on some investments, then it's bad.
What's crazy is that same player who took him up on this challenge, that the same amount of money he spent on jewelry, he put the same amount of money into the financial advisor to grow his money. And guess what happened years later? The amount that he put into the financial advisor, not the jewelry, but the investment that he made grew by 5 times, 10 times, 20 times. And that jewelry, that move right there, paid for jewelry down the road more than paying for the jewelry itself. In other words, he put that money to grow. That's a prosperity mindset, not a scarcity mindset. And so when you look at Marshawn, I salute him for this because his reputation in media isn't very good. He doesn't want to talk to the media. He doesn't want to do a lot of these things. But what a powerful way to help a lot of athletes and a lot of us. Think about this for yourself. How much money do you put to your mortgage? How much money do you put to rent? How much money do you put to car payments? How much money do you put to credit cards? How much money do you put to student loans? How much money do you put to sushi? How much money do you spend towards your hair? Okay, whatever. Is that same amount of money that you have for expenses the same amount of money going to your savings and investments? The same amount of money you spend on your leisure, are you also spending in your future? Is it? By the way, what a great exercise for us all to do. And by the way, if you don't like it, you got 2 options. Number one, you reduce your spending so therefore you can match your savings, or keep that same spending but increase your income. So therefore you can match the savings on the side. I'll tell you, I like the latter. Minimize, obviously, the waste. Minimize and eliminate the things that you don't need to be there. Of course, do that. But the energy to increase your income, to increase what you put and tuck away. I mean, think about this too as well. Look at your salary right now. You can make $50,000 a year, $250,000 a year, $500,000 a year, $1 million a year, $5 million a year. Great. Imagine if you have the same amount of money every year going into your savings. Woo! That you, let's say, for example, you spend $2.5 million, but you also invest $2.5 million. And truth be told, a good friend of mine sells exotic cars. Got him, Aurora. He sells exotic cars in Southern California. His wife is an insurance agent together with us. And he gets a lot of the clients from the car dealership. I simply ask him, hey man, you're buying a Ferrari, you're buying a Rolls Royce, you're buying a Lambo, you're buying a Porsche. If I may ask, where do you have your savings and investments going? A lot of you guys don't know. I don't know. Where should I put my money? It's all in my bank account right now. Seriously? Seriously? He goes, seriously? Talk to my wife. She can show you options how to save for your retirement, save for financial security. You want to grow your money with tax now, tax later, tax free? Where would you rather be? Educate them on the 4 homes of money, educate them on the 5 gotchas of money, bang, bingo, bango, boom. They establish a account. You'd be surprised how many people that have money, then make money, don't know where to put their money. So as I recap, building wealth isn't a Cliff Notes 15-minute conversation. It's a lifestyle. It's a mindset. It's a spiritual condition of how you and I are properly stewarding the blessings God's given me, the blessings God's given you, and the people that you love and care about. Growing in financial wisdom requires you taking faithful action. Don't be like that gospel singer that I was mentioning earlier. Says, man, I got $1.5 million coming on a monthly basis. Okay, from where? I don't know. It's all on faith. It's all on God. Yeah, but God puts it all on you too. You have to have a strategy. Hope and faith is not a wise financial strategy. Hope, faith, and action, wow, that is a crazy combination. So think about how you're putting your faith. It's just asking for prayer, asking for prayer. God, bless me, bless me, bless me. But you're doing no work to earn it. God can't bless somebody who just prays for it and asks for it unless you earn it, unless you work for it. So this week, take one step towards financial literacy and building your financial. So here's my challenge to you. This week, what's one thing you can do to take a step forward to increasing financial literacy, of building your financial foundation? What's one thing you can do? Please put it in the comment section below. I'd love to know what you guys are thinking. Other part about this too as well. You've got to start listening to the right conversations, surrounding yourself with the right people. You got to put yourself in the right proximity of those that are doing it, so therefore you can start picking up this language. For example, if you want to speak a different language, is it better to go to a tutor 1 hour a day for 5 days a week? For example, I want to talk Spanish, learn how to speak Spanish. What's more effective? Me going to a tutor for 1 hour a day for 5 days a week for a year to learn how to speak Spanish, or take 30 days in Mexico City? Where do you think you're going to learn Spanish faster? 30 days in Mexico City, immersed into the environment, or 1 hour a day with a tutor all year? Where do you think you're going to learn Spanish the fastest? And of course, it's obvious you're going to learn Spanish the fastest being in Mexico City. Why? Because you're surrounded by the language, the culture, the mindset, the attitude, the disposition. Same thing with your wealth. So stop praying for a miracle. Surround yourself in miracle-type situations. So therefore, you can receive your blessing to discover the next best version, the new version of you. This makes sense? I appreciate you tuning in. Before you end, watch this video. It's about what a widow did when she became a widow. She was in charge of 2 boys, and she didn't have any insurance. She didn't have any money. Guess what it says about the Bible in that type of situation? Watch this video to figure out what she did and what God did in her life to make her ends meet when her husband passed away. As I wrap up, guys, I appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe to 7 Figure Squad, a channel dedicated to help you think like a millionaire, strategize like a millionaire, so therefore you can become a first-generation cash flow millionaire. From Dallas, Texas, I'm your money smart guy, and until we meet again, continue to live smart, continue to love smart, and be money smart today.